Have you ever been scared while watching one of your favorite horror movies? Maybe you watched a video about haunted houses, and now you're too afraid to go to sleep in your own bed. Well, there are people who willingly seek out scary things. And no, we don't mean people who go watch horror movies every weekend. We're talking about people who track down monsters. Hi, it's me, and this is Life Noggin. Today, we are going to take a look at the secrets of cryptozoology, the hunt for creatures of legend. Let's dive into the secret world of cryptozoology. Cryptozoology is the study of hidden animals. These could be animals that have gone extinct but are still out there somewhere, or animals whose existence has not yet been proven by science. Those who study these animals hope to prove their existence through eyewitness accounts, tracks, photos, and even DNA samples. Now, the term cryptozoology was coined in 1955, but people have been tracking down these types of animals since long before that. Cryptozoology comes from the Greek word kryptos, meaning secret, and zoology, which is the study of animals. So cryptozoology is literally the study of secret animals. So what do cryptozoologists actually do? They investigate reports of strange animals and they try to verify them with physical evidence. So let's say someone claims to have seen a Sasquatch, a large, hairy, human-like creature that walks on two legs. A cryptozoologist might look for footprints in the area where the alleged sighting took place and try to match them to a known animal. They may also try to collect hair or other biological samples from the area to see if they can determine what kind of animal it might have belonged to. If there are no physical remains left behind, the cryptozoologist will interview the person who claimed to have seen the animal. They would ask questions about the animal's appearance, behavior, and habitat. And if the story checks out, they may continue to investigate. They might comb through old documents looking for similar sightings in the area, or talk to locals to see if anyone else has seen anything similar. Now, just because cryptozoology is a relatively new field doesn't mean that scientists haven't made progress. In fact, some cryptids have already been found. What's a cryptid? It's the name given to any animal that is the subject of cryptozoology. So a Sasquatch or a Loch Ness monster are cryptids. Over the years, cryptozoologists have discovered many supposed cryptids that were thought to be myths or legends. One of the most famous examples is the okapi. For a long time, the okapi was considered a myth because it didn't seem possible that such an animal could exist. There were reports of a strange animal that looked like a zebra-giraffe hybrid living in the dense jungles of Central Africa, but many people thought it was just a tall tale. However, in 1901, an explorer named Sir Harry Johnston managed to track down one of these animals and prove that it was real. He shot and skinned the animal and sent its remains back to England for further study. The okapi was finally classified as a real species and added to the list of known animals. Another famous example is the giant squid. For centuries, sailors had told stories of battling enormous squids while out at sea. Many people thought these stories were just tall tales, but in 1857, a giant squid was caught off the coast of Australia and brought back to shore. Since then, we have learned that giant squid are real animals that live deep in the ocean. They can grow up to 13 meters long and weigh over 270 kilograms. That's about the size of a school bus. Other cryptids that have been proven to exist include the axolotl, the Malaysian flying frog, and the giant panda. Now, of course, there are plenty of cryptids that have not been proven to exist, like the Loch Ness Monster. The Loch Ness Monster is said to be a large aquatic creature that lives in Loch Ness, a lake in Scotland. The first written record of a monster living in the lake dates back to the 6th century AD. According to the legend, St. Columba was traveling along the lake when he came across a monster swimming in the water. He made the sign of the cross and the monster turned around and swam away. Since then, there have been hundreds of reported sightings of the Loch Ness Monster, but none of them have been confirmed. In 1933, a couple claimed to have seen the monster, and they described it as being about 18 meters long with a very long neck. A year later, a blurry photograph was taken of the creature by a man named Hugh Gray. The photo became known as the Surgeon S photograph, and it was published in newspapers all over the world. It's possible that the photo is a hoax, though the man who took it admitted that he had set up the scene so that the photo would look like a real monster. But others argue that the photo is genuine. They believe that the creature in the photo is a type of plesiosaur, an extinct group of marine reptiles. Plesiosaurs had long necks and were perfectly adapted for life in the water. They also lived during the age of dinosaurs and went extinct around 66 million years ago. Some people believe that a plesiosaur could have survived by hiding in Loch Ness. This theory seems unlikely, though, because Loch Ness is a relatively small body of water, and it's unlikely that a plesiosaur could have survived in such a small area without being seen by humans. Plus, plesiosaurs were marine reptiles, which means they needed salt water to survive. Loch Ness is a freshwater lake, so it's unlikely that a plesiosaur would choose to live there. Despite the lack of evidence, people still go to Loch Ness every year hoping to catch a glimpse of the monster. Another famous cryptid is Bigfoot. Bigfoot is said to be a large, hairy, human-like creature that lives in the forests of North America. Like the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot has been featured in movies and TV shows, and like the Loch Ness Monster, there is no concrete proof that Bigfoot exists. Most of the evidence for Bigfoot's existence is anecdotal. That means it's based on personal experiences and eyewitness accounts. For example, in 1976, a man named Peter Bryan claimed to have seen Bigfoot. While he was hiking in the woods, he said that Bigfoot was about 2.4 meters tall and covered in long, dark hair. He also said that Bigfoot walked on 2 feet and had a large, muscular body. Now, Bryan's story is the most famous Bigfoot sighting, but there have been hundreds of similar sightings over the years. Unfortunately, none of these sightings have been confirmed, and there is no physical evidence that Bigfoot exists. Despite the lack of evidence, people still go to the woods every year hoping to see Bigfoot for themselves. Okay, so let's say you decided to go look for some cryptids. Where would you start? The answer depends on the cryptid you want to find. Some cryptids are only found in certain parts of the world, like the Loch Ness Monster, which is only found in Scotland. Other cryptids are more widespread, like Bigfoot, which is said to live in the forests of North America. If you wanted to find a cryptid, you would need to do a lot of research. You would need to learn everything you could about the cryptid, including where it was first sighted and what it looks like. You would also need to be prepared for anything. If you're looking for a cryptids like the Loch Ness Monster, you'll need to bring a boat. If you're looking for something like Bigfoot, you'll need to bring binoculars and maybe even a camera. And what if you actually did see a cryptid first? You should stay calm and try to get a good look at the animal. You should also try to remember as much about the animal as possible, including its size, shape, color, and behavior. Once you've seen the animal, you should try to track it down and see if you can get closer. If you're able to get close enough, you should try to collect some evidence, like a footprint or a strand of hair. With physical evidence in hand, you can pass it on to experts who can try to identify the creature. There are many different theories about why people believe in cryptids. Some people believe that cryptids are simply misidentified animals. For example, many people who claim to have seen Bigfoot may have actually seen a bear. Others believe that cryptids are the result of hoaxes. There have been several famous cases of people who have claimed to have seen cryptids, only to have their stories later revealed as fake. For example, in 1941, a man named Ivan Sanderson claimed to have seen a monster in Loch Ness. He described the monster as being about 15 meters long with a long neck and humps like a camel. Sanderson's story was widely publicized and it helped to fuel the public's interest in the Loch Ness Monster. However, in 1975, Sanderson admitted that his story was a hoax. He said that he had made it up to get attention. Still, there are some people who believe that cryptids are real animals that simply have been discovered by scientists. These people believe that there are undiscovered species living in the wild that we just haven't found yet. They think that some of these animals may even be related to dinosaurs or other prehistoric creatures. Whether or not cryptids exist is up for debate. There is no scientific evidence that any cryptids exist, but there is also no evidence that they don't exist. If you're interested in learning more about cryptids, there are several books and documentaries available. Just remember to keep an open mind. You never know what you might learn. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and share with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and click the little bell icon to be notified when new videos are released. This has been Life Noggin. Don't forget to keep on thinking.